Hey, this is FRJH Racing with another really big DCG update for everyone. Basically, in the midway of last year, I kind of stopped working on the game, but I made a lot of progress, and I just never released it. So I'm going to be talking about what I had finished before, some of the breakthroughs I made over the beginning of this year, and then also talking about online functionality and how far that's come as well. So basically, the kind of like rollback on where I was last working on this was when basically I had the building system and all that working pretty well, and the slot system. And the main issue with the game is that, well, it didn't really have a lot of assets like going on. It was just like a garage and you working on your car and nothing else. And then also I had issue with the UI because before it was very like menu based, and so I can kind of show off here. I have this 3D UI I made, and if I hit F, you can see here, go into it. If I pick these parts, it's all up here on this rack, and then if I do it for anything else, I can like pick a part here. It's all very fast paced. I can go into the garage, and so I had completed this, but then I was just like, I don't want to work online because the last thing I had finished with that was just transferring player data, and I think I like barely transferred a car file, but it was like a very basic one before. So I kind of stopped there and like from developing features. And then another thing I ran into is that I started getting into like trying to make like world building. So I got like this road architect system and some asset bundles and stuff like that. And I think previously I discussed how like I wanted this to be all made by myself, but that's pretty much all the code basis is still all me. But when it comes to like making all the meshes and like all the art and all that kind of stuff, I can only do so much. So I did get some I purchased some, and I got some free ones as well. So I threw some of those in here and just tried to do some world building. The map is pretty rough because I just wanted to like make a really big place to test different kind of sandbox things. So that was the one thing that then led to another, like the high definition render pipeline that broke a lot of stuff. So then you can kind of see the real-time reflections even in this kind of editor mode. And then also the input system I updated to this new Unity input system, and it's pretty nice because it like has a lot of flexible, like it automatically detects new hardware like controllers and such, and it changes the control profile to the new hardware that you plug in. So like if you want to ask for certain compatibility, I can just add like a certain controller or steering wheel or something like that, and then just usually drag and drop. But a byproduct of that is I had to change my whole code base from the player control to car driving, because it was completely different than the old way that the Unity input system used to work as opposed to the new one. So there's just all those things kind of hit all at once, and I just kind of stopped working on it, and I just didn't feel like working on the game for pretty much most of last year. So showcased what I had finished here and how online's going to play into this, but I also wanted to kind of like show that I still have the voxel building, I have the pieces, parts, and I have it all right here with the new UI, but I had to move towards this kind of watered down pre-built system so that I could test online. So I did kind of like want to just show that the stuff is still here and it's not gone. It's just I've been trying to work on this in context of the end goal, which is to have online multiplayer and events and like races, and essentially you water it down, and it's like an MMO but for cars and for being a car enthusiast. So that's what it really comes down to, and I want it to be like a persistently online kind of feel. Like, the game's not locked to being online, but the experience for racing and playing on multiplayer should be mostly seamless. I want to, pretty much everything here is without loading screens, and it should be mostly streamlined throughout the whole process. Alright, so enough with that. We can start talking about the new system I have here. So I'm going to play this. These cars are all like pre-built cars, but the thing is they still use the same building system as before. So if you go into the warehouse and the parking spots and then the parking spot, you can see the parts are it actually builds the car. Like, these aren't just pre-made. Like, yes, I technically built the cars in the editor, but then I saved them as if you would save a voxel car in DCGs, and so it still follows the same kind of file set. So then after that, it's not going to connect to the online quite yet, and we'll talk about that later. But then I also reworked the online and the event systems. So I am going to go back to when I last worked on the game back in about, was it June of 2023? And one of my last updates was like what is left to actually get this released with online, and like what does that entail? What does that look like? And so what we have here is this. Right? So this is in June of 2023. I had the things that I accomplished, which this is all true. And the remaining tasks were event instancing and multiplayer functionality, some sort of playable events. So I've finished these, but then now I'm polishing and making them actual like usable. So here we have I showed the variety of cars. I made it so that it's really easy to add new cars to the game. It's as easy as it is to add parts. So I can expand this, but I just started with 5 cars and they all have their own unique feel. I can drive up to this event, hit go, puts me in place, and then we're off. Has a little timer. When I get to the end of it, I can either opt to leave the event or I can restage it. And then it keeps everything running. Now, the one problem I did have before is that there's a lot of physics bugs with this whole interaction with it moving you, and then also if you return to the garage, it would break the event, but I've fixed that bug as well. So now I can pick a different car. Okay, so the events are done, but I have to make them work with online still. So then the other thing is I've been working on is the physics system. So some new features here is, like before, the tires used to be really dumb. Like, they didn't have a really good feedback loop, and all the different parts like the brakes and the engine and all that really didn't interact that well. It was my first iteration of my tire energy model, so the tires worked correctly and the weight transfer and the suspension, but when it came to the engine, that was pretty much an afterthought at the time. But now you can do stuff like here, I can hold the brakes, I can rev it up, and I put it in gear, and then there you go, a little standing burnout. I let off the brakes, I can hit the brakes again, lock them up. I can start shifting here, and I can lock up the rear, do like a little handbrake pull. Then there's here, I can get some speed going. clutch in, downshift, let out the clutch. You can see the engine braking and a little bit of the wheel spin from it. You know, that clutch impulse from when I clutch dumped it for going slower. So there's engine inertia, and I can define that per part. And so, you know, engines are going to have different torque curves, all that kind of stuff. So that's something I hashed out. Another thing that I kind of worked out was the controls. So before, the mouse speed was like really kind of, here. It was like either out of control or manageable. So now we go here to controls. We can turn that all the way down. Really slow. For my mouse setup, it looks really slow, but it's because I have like really high DPI. So I know for other players that have play tested this slow is still like pretty quick for some people. So I tried to consider that. And then move speed. You know, if you like to zoom around, you know, all this stuff's been kind of worked on. The video settings do work now, and also I kind of managed them a little bit better. Before this list was like endless. It was like humongous. But right now it's kind of locked down to the editor, so you don't really have a lot of choices when it's running in an editor like this. And I also kind of fixed the way that it looks, so you can see your current quality, and you can also pick your high definition or your potato settings. So right now I have it defaulting to potato so that it doesn't blow up your computer. It's when everything's turned on and you're doing online, it gets pretty dicey. All right, so then that's all that. So we still have the building system that's in place, and it's compatible with the new pre-made cars, and so that means that now I'm going to kind of move on and show how the online is working. And I want you to keep in mind that the way that the cars and all your information's being transferred to other players, the way that is done is with the same structure that is with the voxel building and the customizable and the painting. It's the same file system. It's just that the cars now just consist of a singular block that's the shape of the body, and then like the wheels are, you know, there's 4 wheels. Right, so it's super watered down, but in the future it's going to be like the suspension parts, and you build the engine, and you build the little voxel parts of your car, and then you know, you're going to have different attributes for all the different parts. And so really the customizability is still going to be there. It's just I really need to keep it simple so that I could get online working. Alright, so now I got the setup here with the server running in the top right corner. And so that's its own machine right now. It's waiting for a new client, as you can see here. No information. Bottom right is another instance, and then this will be the editor instance. So we have 2 instances of the game running. I can open another one, and we'll see how that goes, but let's see how this works right now. You can see once I put in a new name, there you go. It's already updating all the information. I can kind of let that cruise. So then I can come over here, and then boom, and I should already see the other car. Yep, look at that. This car already kind of moving. Now it is glitchy because I have no lag compensation, and so right now it's just moving it based on every frame that it gets. And so it isn't, I mean, the lag's very low because of, you know, it's literally the same computer, and then the server is like literally right next to me, and so the latency itself isn't half bad at all. But, okay, well, what happens when we try to open another instance? How far can this go? No. Windows, stop being like that. Look at that. That's 3 players. And it's all showing up on all their screens, and then we can go to each one of these players, and you can see they have their own player data. You can see their cars are made up of different parts. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of turn these instances off before my computer explodes. But yeah, this guy leaves. You can see the server told that guy to leave, and so, but it did. This is the problem it has now, is when someone leaves, it does break the update cycle. So unfortunately, yeah, see, so I do have to fix that. But yeah, aside from that, it kind of comes down to what's actually next. Is I want to finish the little details like chat, like a global chat, which is really easy. The like 3D UI elements for your name tags. That's another like really easy thing I can just get done. And then the lag compensation and like the car movement stuff, like updating the wheels and steering and engine sounds and stuff, so it's all in sync. So now that, I can move the entire car, I can transfer an entire car over, so the small details are what I need to kind of get done. And then finally having the events working on multiplayer, right? So actually having you join one event and then having another person join a queue, and then once everyone's queued up and ready, the event starts. So there's the local events that work on single player, but now I need to make those multiplayer events. And so that's pretty much where we're at. I hope everyone's excited. If you want to help, you can just kind of follow this in the DCG dev channel in our Discord. And yeah, hope to see you all when we finally get this up and running and